Jeremiah 46:1. This is the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning the nations. 2. Concerning Egypt, this is the message against the army of Pharaoh Necho king of Egypt, which was defeated at Carchemish on the Euphrates River by Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon in the 4th year of Jehoiakim son of Josiah king of Judah. 3. Prepare your shields, both large and small, and march out for battle. 4. Harness the horses, mount the steeds. Take your positions with helmets on. Polish your spears, put on your armor. 5. What do I see? They are terrified, they are retreating, their warriors are defeated. They flee in haste without looking back, and there is terror on every side, declares the Lord. 6. The swift cannot flee nor the strong escape. In the north by the river Euphrates they stumble and fall. 7. Who is this that rises like the Nile, like rivers of surging waters? 8. Egypt rises like the Nile, like rivers of surging waters. She says, I will rise and cover the earth, I will destroy cities and their people. 9. Charge, O horses! Drive furiously, O charioteers! March on, O warriors! Men of Cush and Put who carry shields, men of Lydia who draw the bow. 10. But that day belongs to the Lord Almighty, a day of vengeance, for vengeance on his foes. The sword will devour till it is satisfied, till it has quenched its thirst with blood. For the Lord Almighty, will offer sacrifice in the land of the north by the river Euphrates. 11. Go up to Gilead and get balm, O virgin daughter of Egypt. But you multiply remedies in vain, there is no healing for you. 12. The nations will hear of your shame, your cries will fill the earth. One warrior will stumble over another, both will fall down together. 13. This is the message the Lord spoke to Jeremiah the prophet about the coming of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon to attack Egypt. 14. Announce this in Egypt, and proclaim it in Migdol, proclaim it also in Memphis and Tahpanhes. Take your positions and get ready, for the sword devours those around you. 15. Why will your warriors be laid low? They cannot stand, for the Lord will push them down. 16. They will stumble repeatedly, they will fall over each other. They will say, Get up, let us go back to our own people and our native lands, away from the sword of the oppressor. 17. There they will exclaim, Pharaoh king of Egypt is only a loud noise, he has missed his opportunity. 18. As surely as I live, declares the King, whose name is the Lord Almighty, one will come who is like Tabor among the mountains, like Carmel by the sea. 19. Pack your belongings for exile, you who live in Egypt, for Memphis will be laid waste and lie in ruins without inhabitant. 20. Egypt is a beautiful heifer, but a gadfly is coming against her from the north. 21. The mercenaries in her ranks are like fattened calves. They too will turn and flee together, they will not stand their ground, for the day of disaster is coming upon them, the time for them to be punished. 22. Egypt will hiss like a fleeing serpent as the enemy advances in force, they will come against her with axes, like men who cut down trees. 23. They will chop down her forest, declares the Lord, dense though it be. They are more numerous than locusts, they cannot be counted. 24. The daughter of Egypt will be put to shame, handed over to the people of the north. 25. The Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says, I am about to bring punishment on Ammon god of Thebes, on Pharaoh, on Egypt and her gods, and her kings, and on those who rely on Pharaoh. 26. I will hand them over to those who seek their lives, to Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon and his officers. Later, however, Egypt will be inhabited as in times past, declares the Lord. 27. Do not fear, O Jacob my servant, do not be dismayed, O Israel. I will surely save you out of a distant place, your descendants from the land of their exile. Jacob will again have peace and security, and no one will make him afraid. 28. Do not fear, O Jacob my servant, for I am with you, declares the Lord. Though I completely destroy all the nations among which I scatter you, I will not completely destroy you. I will discipline you, but only with justice. I will not let you go entirely unpunished. Jeremiah 47:1. This is the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning the Philistines before Pharaoh attacked Gaza. 2. This is what the Lord says, see how the waters are rising in the north, they will become an overflowing torrent. They will overflow the land and everything in it, the towns and those who live in them. The people will cry out, all who dwell in the land will wail. 3.at the sound of the hoofs of galloping steeds, at the noise of enemy chariots and the rumble of their wheels. Fathers will not turn to help their children, their hands will hang limp. 4. For the day has come to destroy all the Philistines and to cut off all survivors who could help Tyre and Sidon. The Lord is about to destroy the Philistines, the remnant from the coasts of Kaftor. 5. Gaza will shave her head in mourning, Ashkelon will be silenced. O remnant on the plain, how long will you cut yourselves? 6. Ah, sword of the Lord, you cry, how long till you rest? Return to your scabbard, cease and be still. 7. But how can it rest when the Lord has commanded it, when he has ordered it to attack Ashkelon and the coast? Jeremiah 48:1. Concerning Moab, this is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says, woe to Nebo, for it will be ruined. Kiriathaim will be disgraced and captured, the stronghold will be disgraced and shattered. 2. Moab will be praised no more in Heshbon, men will plot her downfall, come, let us put an end to that nation. You too, O madmen, will be silenced, the sword will pursue you. 3. Listen to the cries from Horonaim, cries of great havoc and destruction. 4. Moab will be broken, her little ones will cry out. 5. They go up the way to Luhith, weeping bitterly as they go on the road down to Horonaim, anguished cries over the destruction are heard. 6. Flee, run for your lives, become like a bush in the desert. 7. Since you trust in your deeds and riches, you too will be taken captive, and Chemosh will go into exile, together with his priests and officials. 8. The destroyer will come against every town, and not a town will escape. The valley will be ruined and the plateau destroyed, because the Lord has spoken. 9. Put salt on Moab, for she will be laid waste, her towns will become desolate, with no one to live in them. 10. A curse on him who is lax in doing the Lord's work. A curse on him who keeps his sword from bloodshed. 11. Moab has been at rest from youth, like wine left on its dregs, not poured from one jar to another, she has not gone into exile. So she tastes as she did, and her aroma is unchanged. 12. But days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will send men who pour from jars, and they will pour her out, they will empty her jars and smash her jugs. 13. Then Moab will be ashamed of Chemosh, as the house of Israel was ashamed when they trusted in Bethel. 14. How can you say, we are warriors, men valiant in battle? 15. Moab will be destroyed and her towns invaded, her finest young men will go down in the slaughter, declares the King, whose name is the Lord Almighty. 16. The fall of Moab is at hand, her calamity will come quickly. 17. Mourn for her, all who live around her, all who know her fame say, how broken is the mighty scepter, how broken the glorious staff. 18. Come down from your glory and sit on the parched ground, O inhabitants of the daughter of Dibon. For he who destroys Moab will come up against you and ruin your fortified cities. 19. Stand by the road and watch, you who live in Aroer. Ask the man fleeing and the woman escaping, ask them, what has happened? 20. Moab is disgraced, for she is shattered. Wail and cry out, announce by the Arnon that Moab is destroyed. 21. Judgment has come to the plateau, to Holon, Jazah and Mephath. 22. To Dibon, Nebo and Beth Diblathaim. 23. To Kiriathaim, Beth Gamul and Beth Meon. 24. To Kerioth and Basra, to all the towns of Moab, far and near. 25. Moab's horn is cut off, her arm is broken, declares the Lord. 26. Make her drunk, for she has defied the Lord. Let Moab wallow in her vomit, let her be an object of ridicule. 27. Was not Israel the object of your ridicule? Was she caught among thieves, that you shake your head in scorn whenever you speak of her? 28. Abandon your towns and dwell among the rocks, you who live in Moab. Be like a dove that makes its nest at the mouth of a cave. 29. We have heard of Moab's pride, her overweening pride and conceit, her pride and arrogance and the haughtiness of her heart. 30. I know her insolence, but it is futile, declares the Lord, and her boasts accomplish nothing. 31. Therefore I wail over Moab, for all Moab I cry out, I moan for the men of Kir Hareseth. 32. I weep for you, as Jazer weeps, O vines of Sibmah. Your branches spread as far as the sea, they reached as far as the sea of Jazer. The destroyer has fallen on your ripened fruit and grapes. 33. Joy and gladness are gone from the orchards and fields of Moab. I have stopped the flow of wine from the presses, no one treads them with shouts of joy. Although there are shouts, they are not shouts of joy. 34. The sound of their cry rises from Heshbon to Elealeh and Jahaz, from Zor, as far as Horonaim and Eglath Shelishiyah, for even the waters of Nimram are dried up. 35. In Moab I will put an end to those who make offerings on the high places and burn incense to their gods, declares the Lord. 36. So my heart laments for Moab like a flute, it laments like a flute for the men of Kir Hareseth. The wealth they acquired is gone. 37. Every head is shaved and every beard cut off, every hand is slashed and every waist is covered with sackcloth. 38. On all the roofs in Moab and in the public squares there is nothing but mourning, for I have broken Moab like a jar that no one wants, declares the Lord. 39. How shattered she is! How they wail! How Moab turns her back in shame! Moab has become an object of ridicule, an object of horror to all those around her. 40. This is what the Lord says, look, an eagle is swooping down, spreading its wings over Moab. 41. Kerioth will be captured and the strongholds taken. In that day the hearts of Moab's warriors will be like the heart of a woman in labor. 42. Moab will be destroyed as a nation because she defied the Lord. 43. Terror and pit and snare await you, O people of Moab, declares the Lord. 44. Whoever flees from the terror will fall into a pit, whoever climbs out of the pit will be caught in a snare, for I will bring upon Moab the year of her punishment, declares the Lord. 45. In the shadow of Heshbon the fugitives stand helpless, for a fire has gone out from Heshbon. A blaze from the midst of Sihon, it burns the foreheads of Moab, the skulls of the noisy boasters. 46. Woe to you, O Moab! The people of Chemosh are destroyed, your sons are taken into exile and your daughters into captivity. 47. Yet I will restore the fortunes of Moab in days to come, declares the Lord. Here ends the judgment on Moab. Jeremiah 49, 1. Concerning the Ammonites, this is what the Lord says, has Israel no sons? Has she no heirs? Why then has Molech taken possession of Gad? Why do his people live in its towns? 2. But the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will sound the battle cry against Rabbah of the Ammonites. It will become a mound of ruins, and its surrounding villages will be set on fire. Then Israel will drive out those who drove her out, says the Lord. 3. Wail, O Heshbon, for Ai is destroyed. Cry out, O inhabitants of Rabbah. Put on sackcloth and mourn, rush here and there inside the walls, for Molech will go into exile, together with his priests and officials. 4. Why do you boast of your valleys, boast of your valleys so fruitful? O unfaithful daughter, you trust in your riches and say, who will attack me? 5. I will bring terror on you from all those around you, declares the Lord Almighty. Every one of you will be driven away, and no one will gather the fugitives. 6. Yet afterward, I will restore the fortunes of the Ammonites, declares the Lord. 7. Concerning Edom, this is what the Lord Almighty says, is there no longer wisdom in Teman? Has counsel perished from the prudent? Has their wisdom decayed? 8. Turn and flee. Hide in deep caves, you who live in Dedan, for I will bring disaster on Esau at the time I punish him. 9. If grape pickers came to you, would they not leave a few grapes? If thieves came during the night, would they not steal only as much as they wanted? 10. But I will strip Esau bare, I will uncover his hiding places, so that he cannot conceal himself. His children, relatives and neighbors will perish, and he will be no more. 11. Leave your orphans, I will protect their lives. Your widows too can trust in me. 12. This is what the Lord says, if those who do not deserve to drink the cup must drink it, why should you go unpunished? You will not go unpunished, but must drink it. 13. I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that Bozrah will become a ruin and an object of horror, of reproach, and of cursing, and all its towns will be in ruins forever. 14. I have heard a message from the Lord, an envoy was sent to the nations to say, assemble yourselves to attack it. Rise up for battle. 15. Now I will make you small among the nations, despised among men. 16. The terror you inspire and the pride of your heart have deceived you. You who live in the clefts of the rocks, who occupy the heights of the hill. Though you build your nest as high as the eagles, from there I will bring you down, declares the Lord. 17. Edom will become an object of horror, all who pass by will be appalled and will scoff because of all its wounds. 18. As Sodom and Gomorrah were overthrown, along with their neighboring towns, says the Lord, so no one will live there, no man will dwell in it. 19. Like a lion coming up from Jordan's thickets to a rich pastureland, I will chase Edom from its land in an instant. Who is the chosen one I will appoint for this? Who is like me and who can challenge me? And what shepherd can stand against me? 20. Therefore, hear what the Lord has planned against Edom, what he has purposed against those who live in Teman. The young of the flock will be dragged away, he will completely destroy their pasture because of them. 21. At the sound of their fall the earth will tremble, their cry will resound to the Red Sea. 22. Look, an eagle will soar and swoop down, spreading its wings over Bozrah. In that day the hearts of Edom's warriors will be like the heart of a woman in labor. 23. Concerning Damascus, Hamath and Arpad are dismayed, for they have heard bad news. They are disheartened, troubled like the restless sea. 24. Damascus has become feeble, she has turned to flee, and panic has gripped her, anguish and pain have seized her, pain like that of a woman in labor. 25. Why has the city of renown not been abandoned, the town in which I delight? 26. Surely, her young men will fall in the streets, all her soldiers will be silenced in that day, declares the Lord Almighty. 27. I will set fire to the walls of Damascus, it will consume the fortresses of Ben-Hadad. 28. Concerning Kedar and the kingdoms of Hazor, which Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon attacked. This is what the Lord says, arise, and attack Kedar and destroy the people of the east. 29. Their tents and their flocks will be taken, their shelters will be carried off with all their goods and camels. Men will shout to them, terror on every side. 30. Flee quickly away. Stay in deep caves, you who live in Hazor, declares the Lord. Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon has plotted against you, he has devised a plan against you. 31. Arise and attack a nation at ease, which lives in confidence, declares the Lord, a nation that has neither gates nor bars, its people live alone. 32. Their camels will become plunder, and their large herds will be booty. I will scatter to the winds those who are in distant places and will bring disaster on them from every side, declares the Lord. 33. Hazor will become a haunt of jackals, a desolate place forever. No one will live there, no man will dwell in it. 34. This is the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet concerning Elam, early in the reign of Zedekiah king of Judah. 35. This is what the Lord Almighty says, see, I will break the bow of Elam, the mainstay of their might. 36. I will bring against Elam the four winds from the four quarters of the heavens. I will scatter them to the four winds, and there will not be a nation where Elam's exiles do not go. 37. I will shatter Elam before their foes. Before those who seek their lives I will bring disaster upon them. Even my fierce anger, declares the Lord. I will pursue them with the sword until I have made an end of them. 38. I will set my throne in Elam and destroy her king and officials, declares the Lord. 39. Yet I will restore the fortunes of Elam in days to come, declares the Lord. Jeremiah 50. 1. This is the word the Lord spoke through Jeremiah the prophet concerning Babylon and the land of the Babylonians. 2. Announce and proclaim among the nations, lift up a banner and proclaim it, keep nothing back. But say, Babylon will be captured, Bel will be put to shame, Marduk filled with terror. Her images will be put to shame and her idols filled with terror. 3. A nation from the north will attack her and lay waste her land. No one will live in it, both men and animals will flee away. 4. In those days, at that time, declares the Lord, the people of Israel and the people of Judah together will go in tears to seek the Lord their God. 5. They will ask the way to Zion and turn their faces toward it. They will come and bind themselves to the Lord in an everlasting covenant that will not be forgotten. 6. My people have been lost sheep, their shepherds have led them astray and caused them to roam on the mountains. They wandered over mountain and hill and forgot their own resting place. 7. Whoever found them devoured them, their enemies said, We are not guilty, for they sinned against the Lord, their true pasture. The Lord, the hope of their fathers. 8. Flee out of Babylon, leave the land of the Babylonians, and be like the goats that lead the flock. 9. For I will stir up and bring against Babylon an alliance of great nations from the land of the north. They will take up their positions against her, and from the north she will be captured. Their arrows will be like skilled warriors who do not return empty-handed. 10. So Babylonia will be plundered, all who plunder her will have their fill, declares the Lord. 11. Because you rejoice and are glad, you who pillage my inheritance, because you frolic like a heifer threshing grain and neigh like stallions. 12. Your mother will be greatly ashamed, she who gave you birth will be disgraced. She will be the least of the nations. A wilderness, a dry land, a desert. 13. Because of the Lord's anger she will not be inhabited but will be completely desolate. All who pass Babylon will be horrified and scoff because of all her wounds. 14. Take up your positions around Babylon, all you who draw the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Lord. 15. Shout against her on every side. She surrenders, her towers fall, her walls are torn down. Since this is the vengeance of the Lord, take vengeance on her, do to her as she has done to others. 16. Cut off from Babylon the sower, and the reaper with his sickle at harvest. Because of the sword of the oppressor let everyone return to his own people, let everyone flee to his own land. 17. Israel is a scattered flock that lions have chased away. The first to devour him was the king of Assyria, the last to crush his bones was Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon. 18. Therefore this is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says, I will punish the king of Babylon and his land as I punished the king of Assyria. 19. But I will bring Israel back to his own pasture, and he will graze on Carmel and Bashan, his appetite will be satisfied on the hills of Ephraim and Gilead. 20. In those days, at that time, declares the Lord, search will be made for Israel's guilt, but there will be none, and for the sins of Judah. But none will be found, for I will forgive the remnant I spare. 21. Attack the land of Merathaim and those who live in Pekod. Pursue, kill and completely destroy them, declares the Lord. Do everything I have commanded you. 22. The noise of battle is in the land, the noise of great destruction. 23. How broken and shattered is the hammer of the whole earth. How desolate is Babylon among the nations. 24. I set a trap for you, O Babylon, And you were caught before you knew it, you were found and captured because you opposed the Lord. 25. The Lord has opened his arsenal and brought out the weapons of his wrath, for the sovereign Lord Almighty has work to do in the land of the Babylonians. 26. Come against her from afar. Break open her granaries, pile her up like heaps of grain. Completely destroy her and leave her no remnant. 27. Kill all her young bulls, let them go down to the slaughter. Woe to them, for their day has come, the time for them to be punished. 28. Listen to the fugitives and refugees from Babylon declaring in Zion how the Lord our God has taken vengeance, vengeance for his temple. 29. Summon archers against Babylon, all those who draw the bow. Encamp all around her, let no one escape. Repay her for her deeds, due to her as she has done. For she has defied the Lord, the Holy One of Israel. 30. Therefore, her young men will fall in the streets, all her soldiers will be silenced in that day, declares the Lord. 31. See, I am against you, O arrogant one, declares the Lord Almighty, for your day has come, the time for you to be punished. 32. The arrogant one will stumble and fall, and no one will help her up. I will kindle a fire in her towns that will consume all who are around her. 33. This is what the Lord Almighty says: the people of Israel are oppressed, and the people of Judah as well. All their captors hold them fast, refusing to let them go. 34. Yet their Redeemer is strong, the Lord Almighty is his name. He will vigorously defend their cause so that he may bring rest to their land, but unrest to those who live in Babylon. 35. A sword against the Babylonians, declares the Lord, against those who live in Babylon and against her officials and wise men. 36. A sword against her false prophets. They will become fools. A sword against her warriors. They will be filled with terror. 37. A sword against her horses and chariots and all the foreigners in her ranks. They will become women. A sword against her treasures. They will be plundered. 38. A drought on her waters. They will dry up, for it is a land of idols, idols that will go mad with terror. 39. So desert creatures and hyenas will live there, and there the owl will dwell. It will never again be inhabited or lived in from generation to generation. 40. As God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah along with their neighboring towns, declares the Lord, so no one will live there, no man will dwell in it. 41. Look, an army is coming from the north, a great nation, and many kings are being stirred up from the ends of the earth. 42. They are armed with bows and spears, they are cruel and without mercy. They sound like the roaring sea as they ride on their horses, they come like men in battle formation to attack you, O daughter of Babylon. 43. The king of Babylon has heard reports about them, and his hands hang limp. Anguish has gripped him, pain like that of a woman in labor. 44. Like a lion coming up from Jordan's thickets to a rich pastureland, I will chase Babylon from its land in an instant. Who is the chosen one I will appoint for this? Who is like me and who can challenge me? And what shepherd can stand against me? 45. Therefore, hear what the Lord has planned against Babylon, what he has purposed against the land of the Babylonians. The young of the flock will be dragged away. He will completely destroy their pasture because of them. 46. At the sound of Babylon's capture the earth will tremble, its cry will resound among the nations. Jeremiah 51. 1. This is what the Lord says: See, I will stir up the spirit of a destroyer against Babylon and the people of Leb-Kamai. 2. I will send foreigners to Babylon to winnow her and to devastate her land. They will oppose her on every side in the day of her disaster. 3. Let not the archer string his bow, nor let him put on his armor. Do not spare her young men, completely destroy her army. 4. They will fall down slain in Babylon, fatally wounded in her streets. 5. For Israel and Judah have not been forsaken by their God, the Lord Almighty, though their land is full of guilt before the Holy One of Israel. 6. Flee from Babylon. Run for your lives. Do not be destroyed because of her sins. It is time for the Lord's vengeance, he will pay her what she deserves. 7. Babylon was a gold cup in the Lord's hand, she made the whole earth drunk. The nations drank her wine, therefore they have now gone mad. 8. Babylon will suddenly fall and be broken. Wail over her. Get balm for her pain, perhaps she can be healed. 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she cannot be healed, let us leave her and each go to his own land, for her judgment reaches to the skies, it rises as high as the clouds. 10. The Lord has vindicated us, come, let us tell in Zion what the Lord our God has done. 11. Sharpen the arrows, take up the shields. The Lord has stirred up the kings of the Medes, because his purpose is to destroy Babylon. The Lord will take vengeance, vengeance for his temple. 12. Lift up a banner against the walls of Babylon. Reinforce the guard, station the watchman, prepare an ambush. The Lord will carry out his purpose, his decree against the people of Babylon. 13. You who live by many waters and are rich in treasures, your end has come, the time for you to be cut off. 14. The Lord Almighty has sworn by himself, I will surely fill you with men, as with a swarm of locusts, and they will shout in triumph over you. 15. He made the earth by his power, he founded the world by his wisdom and stretched out the heavens by his understanding. 16. When he thunders, the waters in the heavens roar, he makes clouds rise from the ends of the earth. He sends lightning with the rain and brings out the wind from his storehouses. 17. Every man is senseless and without knowledge, every goldsmith is shamed by his idols. His images are a fraud, they have no breath in them. 18. They are worthless, the objects of mockery, when their judgment comes, they will perish. 19. He who is the portion of Jacob is not like these, for he is the maker of all things, including the tribe of his inheritance. The Lord Almighty is his name. 20. You are my war club, my weapon for battle. With you I shatter nations, with you I destroy kingdoms. 21. With you I shatter horse and rider, with you I shatter chariot and driver. 22. With you I shatter man and woman, with you I shatter old man and youth, with you I shatter young man and maiden. 23. With you I shatter shepherd and flock, with you I shatter farmer and oxen, with you I shatter governors and officials. 24. Before your eyes I will repay Babylon and all who live in Babylonia for all the wrong they have done in Zion, declares the Lord. 25. I am against you, O destroying mountain, you who destroy the whole earth, declares the Lord. I will stretch out my hand against you, roll you off the cliffs, and make you a burned-out mountain. 26. No rock will be taken from you for a cornerstone, nor any stone for a foundation, for you will be desolate forever, declares the Lord. 27. Lift up a banner in the land. Blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare the nations for battle against her, summon against her these kingdoms, Ararat, Minni and Ashkenaz. Appoint a commander against her, send up horses like a swarm of locusts. 28. Prepare the nations for battle against her. The kings of the Medes, their governors and all their officials, and all the countries they rule. 29. The land trembles and rise, for the Lord's purposes against Babylon stand, to lay waste the land of Babylon so that no one will live there. 30. Babylon's warriors have stopped fighting, they remain in their strongholds. Their strength is exhausted, they have become like women. Her dwellings are set on fire, the bars of her gates are broken. 31. One courier follows another and messenger follows messenger to announce to the king of Babylon that his entire city is captured. 32. The river crossings seized, the marshes set on fire, and the soldiers terrified. 33. This is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor at the time. It is trampled, the time to harvest her will soon come. 34. Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon has devoured us, he has thrown us into confusion, he has made us an empty jar. Like a serpent he has swallowed us and filled his stomach with our delicacies, and then has spewed us out. 35. May the violence done to our flesh be upon Babylon, say the inhabitants of Zion. May our blood be on those who live in Babylonia, says Jerusalem. 36. Therefore, this is what the Lord says, see, I will defend your cause and avenge you. I will dry up her sea and make her springs dry. 37. Babylon will be a heap of ruins, a haunt of jackals, an object of horror and scorn, a place where no one lives. 38. Her people all roar like young lions, they growl like lion cubs. 39. But while they are aroused, I will set out a feast for them and make them drunk, so that they shout with laughter. Then sleep forever and not awake, declares the Lord. 40. I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams and goats. 41. How Sheshach will be captured, the boast of the whole earth seized. What a horror Babylon will be among the nations. 42. The sea will rise over Babylon, its roaring waves will cover her. 43. Her towns will be desolate, a dry and desert land, a land where no one lives, through which no man travels. 44. I will punish Bel in Babylon and make him spew out what he has swallowed. The nations will no longer stream to him, and the wall of Babylon will fall. 45. Come out of her, my people. Run for your lives. Run from the fierce anger of the Lord. 46. Do not lose heart or be afraid when rumors are heard in the land. One rumor comes this year, another the next, rumors of violence in the land and of ruler against ruler. 47. For the time will surely come when I will punish the idols of Babylon. Her whole land will be disgraced and her slain will all lie fallen within her. 48. Then heaven and earth and all that is in them will shout for joy over Babylon, for out of the north destroyers will attack her, declares the Lord. 49. Babylon must fall because of Israel's slain, just as the slain in all the earth have fallen because of Babylon. 50. You who have escaped the sword, leave and do not linger. Remember the Lord in a distant land, and think on Jerusalem. 51. We are disgraced, for we have been insulted and shame covers our faces, because foreigners have entered the holy places of the Lord's house. 52. But days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will punish her idols, and throughout her land the wounded will groan. 53. Even if Babylon reaches the sky and fortifies her lofty stronghold, I will send destroyers against her, declares the Lord. 54. The sound of a cry comes from Babylon, the sound of great destruction from the land of the Babylonians. 55. The Lord will destroy Babylon, he will silence her noisy din. Waves of enemies will rage like great waters, the roar of their voices will resound. 56. A destroyer will come against Babylon, her warriors will be captured, and their bows will be broken. For the Lord is a God of retribution, he will repay in full. 57. I will make her officials and wise men drunk, her governors. Officers and warriors as well, they will sleep forever and not awake, declares the King, whose name is the Lord Almighty. 58. This is what the Lord Almighty says, Babylon's thick wall will be leveled and her high gates set on fire. The peoples exhaust themselves for nothing. The nations labor as only fuel for the flames. 59. This is the message Jeremiah gave to the staff officer Seraiah son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, when he went to Babylon with Zedekiah king of Judah in the 4th year of his reign. 60. Jeremiah had written on a scroll about all the disasters that would come upon Babylon, all that had been recorded concerning Babylon. 61. He said to Seraiah, when you get to Babylon, see that you read all these words aloud. 62. Then say, O Lord, you have said you will destroy this place, so that neither man nor animal will live in it, it will be desolate forever. 63. When you finish reading this scroll, tie a stone to it and throw it into the Euphrates. 64. Then say, so will Babylon sink to rise no more because of the disaster I will bring upon her. And her people will fall. The words of Jeremiah end here. Jeremiah 52. 1. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. His mother's name was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah. She was from Libnah. 2. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, just as Jehoiakim had done. 3. It was because of the Lord's anger that all this happened to Jerusalem and Judah, and in the end he thrust them from his presence. Now Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. 4. So in the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, on the 10th day of the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon marched against Jerusalem with his whole army. They camped outside the city and built siege works all around it. 5. The city was kept under siege until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. 6. By the 9th day of the 4th month the famine in the city had become so severe that there was no food for the people to eat. 7. Then the city wall was broken through, and the whole army fled. They left the city at night through the gate between the two walls near the king's garden, though the Babylonians were surrounding the city. They fled toward the Arabah. 8. But the Babylonian army pursued King Zedekiah and overtook him in the plains of Jericho. All his soldiers were separated from him and scattered. 9. And he was captured. He was taken to the king of Babylon at Riblah in the land of Hamath, where he pronounced sentence on him. 10. There at Riblah the king of Babylon slaughtered the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes. He also killed all the officials of Judah. 11. Then he put out Zedekiah's eyes, bound him with bronze shackles and took him to Babylon, where he put him in prison till the day of his death. 12. On the 10th day of the 5th month, in the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, commander of the imperial guard, who served the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. 13. He set fire to the temple of the Lord, the royal palace and all the houses of Jerusalem. Every important building he burned down. 14. The whole Babylonian army under the commander of the imperial guard broke down all the walls around Jerusalem. 15. Nebuzaradan the commander of the guard carried into exile some of the poorest people and those who remained in the city, along with the rest of the craftsmen and those who had gone over to the king of Babylon. 16. But Nebuzaradan left behind the rest of the poorest people of the land to work the vineyards and fields. 17. The Babylonians broke up the bronze pillars, the movable stands and the bronze sea that were at the temple of the Lord. And they carried all the bronze to Babylon. 18. They also took away the pots, shovels, wick trimmers, sprinkling bowls, dishes and all the bronze articles used in the temple service. 19. The commander of the imperial guard took away the basins, censers, sprinkling bowls, pots, lampstands, dishes and bowls used for drink offerings, all that were made of pure gold or silver. 20. The bronze from the 2 pillars, the sea and the 12 bronze bulls under it, and the movable stands, which King Solomon had made for the temple of the Lord, was more than could be weighed. 21. Each of the pillars was 18 cubits high and 12 cubits in circumference. Each was 4 fingers thick, and hollow. 22. The bronze capital on top of the one pillar was 5 cubits high and was decorated with a network and pomegranates of bronze all around. The other pillar, with its pomegranates, was similar. 23. There were 96 pomegranates on the sides. The total number of pomegranates above the surrounding network was 100. 24. The commander of the guard took as prisoners Sariah the chief priest, Zephaniah the priest next in rank and the 3 doorkeepers. 25. Of those still in the city, he took the officer in charge of the fighting men, and 7 royal advisers. He also took the secretary who was chief officer in charge of conscripting the people of the land and 60 of his men who were found in the city. 26. Nebuzaradan the commander took them all and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. 27. There at Riblah, in the land of Hamath, the king had them executed. So Judah went into captivity, away from her land. 28. This is the number of the people Nebuchadnezzar carried into exile in the 7th year, 3,023 Jews. 29. In Nebuchadnezzar's 18th year, 832 people from Jerusalem. 30. In his 23rd year, 745 Jews taken into exile by Nebuzaradan the commander of the imperial guard. There were 4,600 people in all. 31. In the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiakim king of Judah, in the year Evil-Merodach became king of Babylon. He released Jehoiakim king of Judah and freed him from prison on the 25th day of the 12th month. 32. He spoke kindly to him and gave him a seat of honor higher than those of the other kings who were with him in Babylon. 33. So Jehoiakim put aside his prison clothes and for the rest of his life ate regularly at the king's table. 34. Day by day the king of Babylon gave Jehoiakim a regular allowance as long as he lived, till the day of his death. Lamentations chapter 1. 1. How deserted lies the city, once so full of people. How like a widow is she, who once was great among the nations. She who was queen among the provinces has now become a slave. 2. Bitterly she weeps at night, tears are upon her cheeks. Among all her lovers there is none to comfort her. All her friends have betrayed her, they have become her enemies. 3. After affliction and harsh labor, Judah has gone into exile. She dwells among the nations, she finds no resting place. All who pursue her have overtaken her in the midst of her distress. 4. The roads to Zion mourn, for no one comes to her appointed feasts. All her gateways are desolate, her priests groan, her maidens grieve, and she is in bitter anguish. 5. Her foes have become her masters, her enemies are at ease. The Lord has brought her grief because of her many sins. Her children have gone into exile, captive before the foe. 6. All the splendor has departed from the daughter of Zion. Her princes are like deer that find no pasture, in weakness they have fled before the pursuer. 7. In the days of her affliction and wandering, Jerusalem remembers all the treasures that were hers in days of old. When her people fell into enemy hands, there was no one to help her. Her enemies looked at her and laughed at her destruction. 8. Jerusalem has sinned greatly and so has become unclean. All who honored her despise her, for they have seen her nakedness. She herself groans and turns away. 9. Her filthiness clung to her skirts, she did not consider her future. Her fall was astounding, there was none to comfort her. Look, O Lord, on my affliction, for the enemy has triumphed. 10. The enemy laid hands on all her treasures, she saw pagan nations enter her sanctuary. Those you had forbidden to enter your assembly. 11. All her people groan as they search for bread, they barter their treasures for food to keep themselves alive. Look, O Lord, and consider, for I am despised. 12. Is it nothing to you, all you who pass by? Look around and see, is any suffering like my suffering that was inflicted on me, that the Lord brought on me in the day of his fierce anger? 13. From on high he sent fire, sent it down into my bones. He spread a net for my feet and turned me back. He made me desolate, faint all the day long. 14. My sins have been bound into a yoke by his hands, they were woven together. They have come upon my neck and the Lord has sapped my strength. He has handed me over to those I cannot withstand. 15. The Lord has rejected all the warriors in my midst, he has summoned an army against me to crush my young men. In his winepress the Lord has trampled the virgin daughter of Judah. 16. This is why I weep and my eyes overflow with tears. No one is near to comfort me, no one to restore my spirit. My children are destitute because the enemy has prevailed. 17. Zion stretches out her hands, but there is no one to comfort her. The Lord has decreed for Jacob that his neighbors become his foes. Jerusalem has become an unclean thing among them. 18. The Lord is righteous, yet I rebelled against his command. Listen, all you peoples, look upon my suffering. My young men and maidens have gone into exile. 19. I called to my allies but they betrayed me. My priests and my elders perished in the city while they searched for food to keep themselves alive. 20. See, O Lord, how distressed I am. I am in torment within, and in my heart I am disturbed, for I have been most rebellious. Outside, the sword bereaves, inside, there is only death. 21. People have heard my groaning, but there is no one to comfort me. All my enemies have heard of my distress, they rejoice at what you have done. May you bring the day you have announced so they may become like me. 22. Let all their wickedness come before you, deal with them as you have dealt with me because of all my sins. My groans are many and my heart is faint. Lamentations chapter 2. 1. How the Lord has covered the daughter of Zion with the cloud of his anger. He has hurled down the splendor of Israel from heaven to earth, he has not remembered his footstool in the day of his anger. 2. Without pity the Lord has swallowed up all the dwellings of Jacob in his wrath, he has torn down the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He has brought her kingdom and its princes down to the ground in dishonor. 3. In fierce anger he has cut off every horn of Israel. He has withdrawn his right hand at the approach of the enemy. He has burned in Jacob like a flaming fire that consumes everything around it. 4. Like an enemy he has strung his bow, his right hand is ready. Like a foe he has slain all who were pleasing to the eye, he has poured out his wrath like fire on the tent of the daughter of Zion. 5. The Lord is like an enemy, he has swallowed up Israel. He has swallowed up all her palaces and destroyed her strongholds. He has multiplied mourning and lamentation for the daughter of Judah. 6. He has laid waste his dwelling like a garden, he has destroyed his place of meeting. The Lord has made Zion forget her appointed feasts and her Sabbaths, in his fierce anger he has spurned both king and priest. 7. The Lord has rejected his altar and abandoned his sanctuary. He has handed over to the enemy the walls of her palaces, they have raised a shout in the house of the Lord as on the day of an appointed feast. 8. The Lord determined to tear down the wall around the daughter of Zion. He stretched out a measuring line and did not withhold his hand from destroying. He made ramparts and walls lament together, they wasted away. 9. Her gates have sunk into the ground, their bars he has broken and destroyed. Her king and her princes are exiled among the nations. The law is no more, and her prophets no longer find visions from the Lord. 10. The elders of the daughter of Zion sit on the ground in silence, they have sprinkled dust on their heads and put on sackcloth. The young women of Jerusalem have bowed their heads to the ground. 11. My eyes fail from weeping, I am in torment within, my heart is poured out on the ground because my people are destroyed, because children and infants faint in the streets of the city. 12. They say to their mothers, where is bread and wine? As they faint, like wounded men in the streets of the city, as their lives ebb away in their mothers' arms. 13. What can I say for you? With what can I compare you, O daughter of Jerusalem? To what can I liken you, that I may comfort you, O virgin daughter of Zion? Your wound is as deep as the sea. Who can heal you? 14. The visions of your prophets were false and worthless, they did not expose your sin to ward off your captivity. The oracles they gave you were false and misleading. 15. All who pass your way clap their hands at you, they scoff and shake their heads at the daughter of Jerusalem. Is this the city that was called the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? 16. All your enemies open their mouths wide against you, they scoff and gnash their teeth and say, we have swallowed her up. This is the day we have waited for, we have lived to see it. 17. The Lord has done what he planned, he has fulfilled his word, which he decreed long ago. He has overthrown you without pity, he has let the enemy gloat over you, he has exalted the horn of your foes. 18. The hearts of the people cry out to the Lord. O wall of the daughter of Zion, let your tears flow like a river, day and night give yourself no relief, your eyes no rest. 19. Arise, cry out in the night, as the watches of the night begin, pour out your heart like water in the presence of the Lord. Lift up your hands to him for the lives of your children, who faint from hunger at the head of every street. 20. Look, O Lord, and consider, whom have you ever treated like this? Should women eat their offspring, the children they have cared for? Should priest and prophet be killed in the sanctuary of the Lord? 21. Young and old lie together in the dust of the streets, my young men and maidens have fallen by the sword. You have slain them in the day of your anger, you have slaughtered them without pity. 22. As you summoned to a feast day, so you summoned against me terrors on every side. In the day of the Lord's anger no one escaped or survived those I cared for and reared. My enemy has destroyed. Lamentations chapter 3. 1. I am the man who has seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. 2. He has driven me away and made me walk in darkness rather than light. 3. Indeed, he has turned his hand against me again and again, all day long. 4. He has made my skin and my flesh grow old and has broken my bones. 5. He has besieged me and surrounded me with bitterness and hardship. 6. He has made me dwell in darkness like those long dead. 7. He has walled me in so I cannot escape. He has weighed me down with chains. 8. Even when I call out or cry for help, he shuts out my prayer. 9. He has barred my way with blocks of stone. He has made my paths crooked. 10. Like a bear lying in wait, like a lion in hiding. 11. He dragged me from the path and mangled me and left me without help. 12. He drew his bow and made me the target for his arrows. 13. He pierced my heart with arrows from his quiver. 14. I became the laughingstock of all my people. They mock me in song all day long. 15. He has filled me with bitter herbs and sated me with gall. 16. He has broken my teeth with gravel. He has trampled me in the dust. 17. I have been deprived of peace. I have forgotten what prosperity is. 18. So I say, my splendor is gone and all that I had hoped from the Lord. 19. I remember my affliction and my wandering, the bitterness and the gall. 20. I well remember them, and my soul is downcast within me. 21. Yet this I call to mind and therefore I have hope. 22. Because of the Lord's great love we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. 23. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. 24. I say to myself, the Lord is my portion, therefore I will wait for him. 25. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. 26. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. 27. It is good for a man to bear the yoke while he is young. 28. Let him sit alone in silence, for the Lord has laid it on him. 29. Let him bury his face in the dust. There may yet be hope. 30. Let him offer his cheek to one who would strike him, and let him be filled with disgrace. 31. For men are not cast off by the Lord forever. 32. Though he brings grief, he will show compassion, so great is his unfailing love. 33. For he does not willingly bring affliction or grief to the children of men. 34. To crush underfoot all prisoners in the land. 35. To deny a man his rights before the Most High. 36. To deprive a man of justice. Would not the Lord see such things? 37. Who can speak and have it happen if the Lord has not decreed it? 38. Is it not from the mouth of the Most High that both calamities and good things come? 39. Why should any living man complain when punished for his sins? 40. Let us examine our ways and test them, and let us return to the Lord. 41. Let us lift up our hearts and our hands to God in heaven, and say. 42. We have sinned and rebelled and you have not forgiven. 43. You have covered yourself with anger and pursued us, you have slain without pity. 44. You have covered yourself with a cloud so that no prayer can get through. 45. You have made us scum and refuse among the nations. 46. All our enemies have opened their mouths wide against us. 47. We have suffered terror and pitfalls, ruin and destruction. 48. Streams of tears flow from my eyes because my people are destroyed. 49. My eyes will flow unceasingly, without relief. 50. Until the Lord looks down from heaven and sees. 51. What I see brings grief to my soul because of all the women of my city. 52. Those who were my enemies without cause hunted me like a bird. 53. They tried to end my life in a pit and threw stones at me. 54. The waters closed over my head, and I thought I was about to be cut off. 55. I called on your name, O Lord, from the depths of the pit. 56. You heard my plea, do not close your ears to my cry for relief. 57. You came near when I called you, and you said, do not fear. 58. O Lord, you took up my case, you redeemed my life. 59. You have seen, O Lord, the wrong done to me. Uphold my cause. 60. You have seen the depth of their vengeance, all their plots against me. 61. O Lord, you have heard their insults, all their plots against me. 62. What my enemies whisper and mutter against me all day long. 63. Look at them. Sitting or standing, they mock me in their songs. 64. Pay them back what they deserve, O Lord, for what their hands have done. 65. Put a veil over their hearts, and may your curse be on them. 66. Pursue them in anger and destroy them from under the heavens of the Lord. Lamentations chapter 4. 1. How the gold has lost its luster, the fine gold become dull. The sacred gems are scattered at the head of every street. 2. How the precious sons of Zion, once worth their weight in gold, are now considered as pots of clay, the work of a potter's hands. 3. Even jackals offer their breasts to nurse their young, but my people have become heartless like ostriches in the desert. 4. Because of thirst the infant's tongue sticks to the roof of its mouth, the children beg for bread, but no one gives it to them. 5. Those who once ate delicacies are destitute in the streets. Those nurtured in purple now lie on ash heaps. 6. The punishment of my people is greater than that of Sodom, which was overthrown in a moment without a hand turned to help her. 7. Their princes were brighter than snow and whiter than milk, their bodies more ruddy than rubies, their appearance like sapphires. 8. But now they are blacker than soot, they are not recognized in the streets. Their skin has shriveled on their bones, it has become as dry as a stick. 9. Those killed by the sword are better off than those who die of famine racked with hunger, they waste away for lack of food from the field. 10. With their own hands compassionate women have cooked their own children, who became their food when my people were destroyed. 11. The Lord has given full vent to his wrath, he has poured out his fierce anger. He kindled a fire in Zion that consumed her foundations. 12. The kings of the earth did not believe, nor did any of the world's people, that enemies and foes could enter the gates of Jerusalem. 13. But it happened because of the sins of her prophets and the iniquities of her priests, who shed within her the blood of the righteous. 14. Now they grope through the streets like men who are blind. They are so defiled with blood that no one dares to touch their garments. 15. Go away, you are unclean. Men cry to them, away, away, don't touch us. When they flee and wander about, people among the nations say, they can stay here no longer. 16. The Lord himself has scattered them, he no longer watches over them. The priests are shown no honor, the elders no favor. 17. Moreover, our eyes failed, looking in vain for help from our towers we watched for a nation that could not save us. 18. Men stalked us at every step, so we could not walk in our streets. Our end was near, our days were numbered, for our end had come. 19. Our pursuers were swifter than eagles in the sky, they chased us over the mountains and lay in wait for us in the desert. 20. The Lord's anointed, our very life breath, was caught in their traps. We thought that under his shadow we would live among the nations. 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, you who live in the land of Uz. But to you also the cup will be passed, you will be drunk and stripped naked. 22. O daughter of Zion, your punishment will end, he will not prolong your exile. But, O daughter of Edom, he will punish your sin and expose your wickedness. Lamentations chapter 5. 1. Remember, O Lord, what has happened to us, look, and see our disgrace. 2. Our inheritance has been turned over to aliens, our homes to foreigners. 3. We have become orphans and fatherless, our mothers like widows. 4. We must buy the water we drink, our wood can be had only at a price. 5. Those who pursue us are at our heels, we are weary and find no rest. 6. We submitted to Egypt and Assyria to get enough bread. 7. Our fathers sinned and are no more, and we bear their punishment. 8. Slaves rule over us, and there is none to free us from their hands. 9. We get our bread at the risk of our lives because of the sword in the desert. 10. Our skin is hot as an oven, feverish from hunger. 11. Women have been ravished in Zion, and virgins in the towns of Judah. 12. Princes have been hung up by their hands, elders are shown no respect. 13. Young men toil at the millstones, boys stagger under loads of wood. 14. The elders are gone from the city gate, the young men have stopped their music. 15. Joy is gone from our hearts, our dancing has turned to mourning. 16. The crown has fallen from our head. Woe to us, for we have sinned. 17. Because of this our hearts are faint, because of these things our eyes grow dim. 18. For Mount Zion, which lies desolate, with jackals prowling over it. 19. You, O Lord, reign forever, your throne endures from generation to generation. 20. Why do you always forget us? Why do you forsake us so long? 21. Restore us to yourself, O Lord, that we may return, renew our days as of old. 22. Unless you have utterly rejected us and are angry with us beyond measure.